The best way to train an AI is in the instructions. Let's dive in and tell you why. I'm Scott Meyer, co-founder of Chip, and often we get the question, how can I best train my AI assistant so it listens to what I ask it to do and takes into account the files that I want it to look at? I always say there's two ways to train an AI. You can tell it what to do, or you can show it what to do. You can tell it what to do in the prompt or the instructions. So in Chip and in AI tools like ChatGPT, you have your instructions where you can say how it should behave. This is the framework we often recommend, the RIPE framework, where you tell it who to be, the role, you give it an instruction, any parameters, and an example. In that instruction is going to be sent every time you type. So if you say the word hello and you pre-train your agent to have a certain role, instruction, etc., it's what the AI actually sees as hello, and then all of those instructions that you already gave it. Now, ChatGPT or Anthropic, they actually have their own system prompts, what it's called, and that's going to go with your question as well. So every time you ask a simple question, there's a lot of details that's going with it, and the AI looks at all of that every single time. Now, you can also train your AI not by telling it what to do in the instructions, but by showing it in the knowledge sources. This is where you can upload files in your pre-trained AI assistant, and those files can be referenced when needed. So think about the knowledge sources are going to be there when the AI doesn't know what to do. So if you're going to ask it a question about your HR policy and you uploaded your HR policy, it's going to know to go look at that file. But if you ask it a question that it thinks it knows the answer to, it might not go look at the file. So think about knowledge sources as adding context that it might need, but it's not going to be as heavily weighted as when you tell it exactly what to do in the instructions. So when do you use instructions, or when do you use the knowledge sources? Think about adding instructions in for the most important examples and details. Now, the context window, essentially the amount of information you can put in an instruction, is growing. The new ChatGPT 4.1, for example, takes up to 1 million tokens, which is roughly 800,000 words. So like 8 to 10 novels, right? Gemini has even more. And so you can add a lot of information in the instructions. But just remember that more is not always better. When you add more information in the instruction, there's more for it to look at. So it might go to the example or the instruction that you don't want it to, right? Same thing with the knowledge sources. Instead of uploading, say, 5 different examples of blog posts that you write as a way to train it, just upload 1 or 2 that are the best examples. Because remember, that AI is going to go get a file or even just a piece of a file, and it might pull the one you don't want it to, right? So just upload the files that you definitely know are great examples or tutorials that it'll learn from. So to review, you can train an AI by telling it in the instructions or by showing it in the knowledge sources. Only upload the best examples to train it with, the ones that you know will be a great use, and upload the YouTube videos or the files that you need to give it the information it wants. If something's really important, put it in the instructions. If you have a large amount of information, such as big PDFs or reference material, like HR documents or how-to videos, put that in the knowledge sources and put the best ones there. Now, the last thing that you can do is in the instruction, you can direct it to specific files or always ask it to look at files. So in the prompt, you might say something in the instructions or the parameters section, like always refer to the knowledge sources when giving an answer. Or even better is always refer to hrdocument.pdf when giving an answer. When you do this, it's always going to look at that knowledge source. It'll take a little bit longer, and it might ignore other sources. So just remember, when you're telling it exactly what to do, it'll have less freedom to choose the best answer. So that's a lot of information, but at the end of the day, train your AI on the best information you have. Only force it to do things when it absolutely needs to, and put the most important stuff in the instructions. I can't wait to see what you build. Look forward to having you share it with the whole Chip team, and look forward to building the future of AI with you.